The Wrestling Realm presents Break It Down with Brian H.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Break It Down with Brian H. I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. Before we get into the show, I gotta let you know where you can find us. Make sure you are following the Wrestling Realm at Wrestling Realm on Twitter and Instagram. And make sure you have hit the subscribe button down below. If you're new to this channel, I promise you will have a lot of content that'll keep you entertained while hopefully you're still socially distancing. And of course, subscribe to the podcast on all podcasting platforms. That includes Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Pandora. Folks, let's get right into it. I know what you guys are here to hear me talk about, folks, and that is Edge and Randy Orton winning having the greatest match ever, or did they? I watched this match and I thought about it and I said, you know what? Going into this, I was not convinced. I said, these two, let me mute my TV. These two can't have the greatest match ever. You know, Edges have great matches, obviously. Randy Orton has had great matches, obviously. You know, I think about Randy Orton and Christian and their series that they had in 2011. Obviously, the numerous of matches that Randy Orton and John Cena has had. I also think about John Cena and Edge. Dare say Edge's greatest adversary. You look at, obviously, the TLC matches, but those were tag team situations. But now, the match to say, oh, yeah, this is the greatest match ever. These two, I wasn't sure. And then I was on last night. We recorded the pre-show. I was with Blake Thomas and Ronald James, two of the three dope dudes and a mic podcast. And we talked about it. And it was a numerous of ways this match could have went. And I have to say, they exceeded my expectations. I didn't think they was going to have the greatest match. And I don't know if I can call it the greatest match ever. But what I can say is that the match lived up to the expectations. The match was definitely the match of the night. I really enjoyed this match because, yes, it was not too many spots, but the story was, who was better than who? Was Edge better? Was Randy Orton better? That's what I wanted to see. Two guys going at it. They hit each other with everything, but the kitchen sink. And in the end, it was Randy Orton being the heel, the viper that he is, getting a low blow and then kicking Edge to the head with that punt and ending the match 1, 2, 3. So, like I said, folks, what an incredible match. I definitely encourage you to watch it again. You know, we had the phenomenal AJ Styles taking on Daniel Bryan in a match on SmackDown for the Intercontinental Championship, the vacant Intercontinental Championship. And that match had to have commercials because it was on Fox. So, you got to pay for TV time. You got to pay for your time slot. So I understood it. But what I saw in that match, those two, I'm like, man, you know what? I want to see it without the commercial breaks. I don't know if Edge and Randy Orton was better, but it's two totally different stories. So I'm not even going to take the time to really dive in and figure out which match was better. But I'll tell you this, as a wrestling fan, as a diehard wrestling fan, as a huge Edge fan, as a huge Daniel Bryan fan that I am, both of those guys are in my top 10. I was very happy. Unfortunately for me, both of them came up on the losing end, but that wasn't the story. The story for this was they both put on incredible matches, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's next. I don't need necessarily a Randy Orton Edge match, but they got to do best out of 3, right? If you're in the chat, let me know, because on my monitor, it looked like it's out. Yeah, and my microphone did go out. Test. All right, it looks like it's back on. So sorry about that. It's a little technical difficulties. We're gonna roll with the punches. But like I said, Edge, Randy Orton. When I go back and I think about this matchup, I'm not going to take the time to break down which match was better between Randy Orton and Edge, or Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. As a wrestling fan, I got incredible matches. Now I want to see, I was getting ready to get into that. My good friend Blake said on the pre-show, if you got a chance, you saw, he said that the money matchup is Drew McIntyre versus versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. If I'm not mistaken, I think my memory serves me correctly, that'll be back-to-back years, Randy Orton challenging for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. I tell you, folks, this has been a long year, so if I got it wrong, forgive me, but yeah, we're only in June, and it feels like we've already been in 3 years. But so that's that. Moving on, we have Lashley, Drew McIntyre. McIntyre's still the champ. I know. I said Lashley. I predicted Lashley as the hill that I was going to die on, and I did in my predictions. But I enjoyed the match. These two, to me, I'm not always entertained by two muscleheads going at it, but I was in this one. And it felt that at any given moment, Lashley could have won the match. I felt like, you know what? Lashley might do it. He might do it tonight. But unfortunately, Lana came out there, and I ain't gonna lie, I was watching with the audio down, so I was on the phone, but that's tend to how I watch wrestling sometimes. Watching with the audio down, I'm not sure what was said between announcers, but what I do know is watching that, I saw Lashley getting distracted, Lana getting in the way, boom, McIntyre gets the win. I did not like that finish at all. It was definitely a tapped out for me. I would have wanted to have seen Lashley just get beat, maybe come up slipping, or maybe even an MVP cost him. But I understand the story, so, I'm not necessarily crapping on it. I understand where they're going, because this is ultimately going to lead to the split of Lashley and Lana. But I did like MVP making a big deal, ordering the bottles of champagne. Unfortunately, his money went to waste tonight. But in future, hopefully, it always happens every show. It just does. I'm sorry. But nonetheless, we have we finally got Lashley in the WWE Championship picture. Hopefully he gets another opportunity. Hopefully he gets it done before he hangs up his boots. He's somebody I want to see as the WWE champion, and I want to see him as a heel. With MVP, with Lashley, I think that can be a dominant WWE championship combination. I think he could be the perfect manager, and we could see Lashley run with this. Maybe they give it to him in the winter months. Maybe Lashley will finally get over that hump and then be the guy that's beaten at WrestleMania. I don't need to see Brock Lesnar back. I know some people want to. I don't need to see Brock back. Brock has ran his course with me. I don't know what more you could do with him. Quite frankly, I understand he's a draw to some people, but I want to know how many fans really watch because of Brock Lesnar. Is Brock Lesnar, and somebody's probably out there laughing at me right now, probably saying I'm crazy, but is Brock Lesnar on the level of Austin or Rock, in a sense of when he's there, you're automatically going to tune in? Maybe he is, maybe I'm just, because I'm in the wrestling bubble, I'm not in the UFC bubble. That's what I want to know. How many UFC fans are tuning in to the WWE product because Brock Lesnar's there? So that's what I want to see. Those are the numbers I'm interested in, quite frankly. moving on, we saw that I'm not going to go through the whole card, just be honest with you. I'm only going to be, real short tonight. I wasn't even planning to really do a show, but I said, you know what? This Edge and Orton match has lived up, exceeded my expectations. Why not? But one of the things I did enjoy tonight, man, I enjoyed the way Asuka and Nia Jax finished. I'm glad that, the story for Asuka is really, to what I see, is somebody was trying to prove, hey, yes, I earned being women's Money in the Bank winner, but I didn't get a chance to cash it in. And I want to be a champion that earned the title, not somebody who was just, here's your belt because I'm, pregnant. So she wasn't able to prove that tonight. Nia Jax is Nia Jax. So I want to know what happens next with these two. I definitely see another match coming. We're in June. I know we got 2 more months. I'm not sure. Maybe they named the next pay-per-view. I may have missed it. I do know honestly, for me, it's always SummerSlam. This is SummerSlam season, the build towards SummerSlam. I am not sure, though, if Nia Jax is in the title picture come SummerSlam. Moving on. Sasha and Bayley. They retain the tag team championships, and I couldn't be any happier. Finally, Sasha Banks, she got the pinfall, she got the win. They're role models, finally getting it done, finally retaining a championship. They worked so hard for them. They cried for these. And I'm not saying they cry like crybabies, but they wanted these tag team championship, those beautiful titles. They finally got them, and now they were able to successfully defend them. And I thought they started off the show hot, I thought the way Bayley and Sasha went out there, they did their thing. And I was happy for them, getting their chance. And shout out to the Iconics. And shout out to Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Just a phenomenal matchup. A great way to start the show. And if you don't believe, women's wrestling it's phenomenal right now. So I was happy with this match. And I'm excited to see what happens next, And then last but not least, I'm going to touch on, Miz and Morrison. We knew that they were going to lose, so it's not really much to talk about there. But I will say that I did enjoy Andrade and Apollo Crews. Now, clearly I was wrong. I predicted that Andrade would get the title back. He didn't. So it was cool to see Crews win. And let's be real. We knew when Crews won, and we knew when Sasha and Bayley won. We knew Lashley wasn't getting the title. But Crews holding on to the championship. I do think Kevin Owens is going to turn on him. Kevin Owens ain't somebody you can trust. Look what he did to the New Day last year. Not anybody you can trust. I'm not trusting him. But, he reminded people, he was the face of America at one time. I would like to see him in a main event picture, though. I know Drew's a babyface, but I would definitely like to see Kevin Owens. He's just a star. He's been a star since he came up from NXT. He needs to be on the WWE Championship picture. I know the mid-card titles are for the workers, and they're not necessarily, on SmackDown, you have your best two actually with that championship going at, but on Raw, I think Kevin Owens, Raw is Owens. Kevin Owens needs to be in the championship picture. So, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually going to wrap things up right now, folks. Like I said, I wasn't going to be before you very long, but I definitely appreciate you tuning in to this episode. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Like I said, you may, maybe your first time, maybe your 50th time. We got over 300 videos on here. So, like I said, we definitely can keep you entertained. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you tell your friends about the wrestling realm. My brother, the real Dwayne Allen, right there, and myself, we put together this show, because we love wrestling. We love talking about wrestling, and then I wanted to talk about it all the time. So I created the podcast. I said, you know what? I told him, I said, you know what, Realness, I'm thinking about doing a podcast. And, I'm happy to say this is episode 141. That's not including the specialty episodes, but 141 episodes. So consistency. I'll probably take a week off or two. Haven't decided to have maybe a show Wednesday, but maybe not the next week because I'm going to take a vacation. It's been a lot going on. I need to reset and recharge. You may catch me doing some Instagram lives here and there, but then again, you may not. So make sure, I encourage everybody to do the same thing wherever you can. Yeah, a lot of us have been home because of COVID-19. Doesn't mean we're not working, or in some cases working harder. If you got children like me, you're working a lot because you got to do your work. Then you're trying to stay sane, and then you got to make sure they're doing their work, and then you got to try to make sure they understand what's going on. Then we have the racial injustices going on. So that's another thing. So I want you guys just to make sure you get some relaxed time. I promise you, there's content right here on this channel that while you're watching it, while you're relaxing, taking a break, you could be entertained. The real Dwayne Allen, he's done some very cool stuff. So, and matter of fact, before we leave, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to close out with one of his videos. That way you can be entertained. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you a preview in case you haven't seen it yet. Our Life After the WWE episode. It's one of my favorite episodes we've done. One, because that's what we do. We just have fun while we're doing this stuff. But I want you guys to make sure you check out the video. Hit the subscribe button right now. Tell a friend about the Wrestling Realm. Drop a 5-star rating. Drop me a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Give me, help us out on YouTube, man. We trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We had about 784. So help us out. We appreciate it. God bless you. Superstars who have thrived. Let's talk about it.
Okay, let's start with my personal favorite, the main one off breaks, Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
It's timely. Let's just dive into it.
Mm-hmm.
Cody Rhodes. Naturally, his name is Rhodes. So it didn't matter what he did or where he was going to go. He was determined to make a name for himself.
Right.
When Cody first asked for his release from the WWE, he was kind of traveling, and he kind of didn't know who he was just yet. You saw different sides of Cody Rhodes. You saw different personas. But halfway through, you begin to see this guy find himself. And he found himself, to me personally, I think when he decided becoming a villain.
Yeah.
Becoming the American Nightmare for Cody was a changing point and a turning point, in my opinion, in his career.
Mm-hmm.
I began to see him do some of his best work that I enjoyed in other promotions, specifically in Ring of Honor, as well as New Japan Pro Wrestling, and a couple other stops he made along the way.
Man, I wish his father was still around to see him become an American Nightmare.
I'm almost afraid that Dusty would end up leaving the WWE just to do something special with his sons. I mean, it's not the first time Dusty has competed with Vince, WCW,
NWA.